Hello everybody and welcome to the Ozzimon Library. Of course, I'm your librarian, and today we're diving back into our multiversal series showcasing different Rangers that are orange, featuring in every single season of Power Rangers that there are, leading up to Cosmic Fury. Because Cosmic Fury is the only Ranger team with a canon Orange Ranger, so I decided to take upon myself to design an Orange Ranger for every single team that we have. So with that being said, we're now on Time Force, and it's one of my favourite seasons. So I thought I'd kind of blend some of the lore and kind of build up here between two different seasons, and let's dive in. So with our Orange Ranger for Time Force, I'm actually combining the Quantum powers and the Time Force powers into one. Let me explain and let me dive into some of the background lore here. Sometimes throughout this series, and whatever colour comes out next after Orange, and throughout Tiger Tales, my audio drama channels, I like to kind of connect some of my Rangers to characters who already exist, giving characters children that they normally don't have, or siblings that they normally don't have, or something like that. But I've never done a grandparent before, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to give a Power Ranger a grandparent. But it's none of the Time Force Rangers. No, it's actually one of the SPD Rangers. That, of course, being Sky, our blue, and at the end red, SPD Ranger. Why him exactly? Well, if we pay attention to his background and his lore and his backstory, we actually know that his dad was one of the very first SPD Rangers, and his Ranger suit looks like a Time Force suit. So I thought, what if he came from a whole generation of Power Rangers? And we now have his grandfather, Sky's grandfather, as a Time Force Ranger. I'm trying to connect Time Force and SPD together, because we have a time exploration series and a alien exploration series, but they share one form of continuity. So let me kind of see if I can bridge a gap here. With the Orange Ranger being Sky's grandfather, I'm going to call him Wyatt. And Wyatt's job was to test out the first generation of time-traveling machines. You know, the gigantic Megazord-looking thing that would punch the time ship across time, and like the Shadow Megazord and stuff. Before that became a thing. So Wyatt would be the test dummy, and he would be a Quantum Ranger, and with that he'd go and travel throughout time, but he gets stranded in time, getting stranded completely. So what do the people at Time Force do? Start sending him equipment throughout time to see if he can build a new device, or just at least a gateway home. This would kind of play into where the Quantum Morpher would then land in the past tense, you know, that Eric kind of attained, because it was a part of the testing of time travel. So I thought maybe I could link to that too. So when it comes to Wyatt, he ends up with a Quantum Morpher first, being a Quantum Ranger. However, with the pieces of technology that he manages to find throughout time, because he blinks at a time, he's not able to stay in one time zone for too long, of course. Kind of think of the way the princess little girl in Wreck-It Ralph glitches everywhere, kind of like that, but throughout time. So he finds different pieces of technology that Time Force back in his present day are sending him, and he manages to build some form of device, but it goes horribly wrong. It explodes and causes a rift through time. So now Wyatt must either do one or two things: go through the rift and go back to present day, but the rift will just continue to grow, or sacrifice his chance of going home and, of course, keeping everyone safe. So he does exactly that, and whatever technology is left from that device, he additionally adds it to his Quantum Morpher, and it's actually pieces of the Time Force Morpher, just a bit more basic and stuff like that, fusing it together to create a new Ranger form, but also a new Morpher. That giving us our orange Quantum Ranger, and here is the design. This is why a part of his body, his arms, his legs, and his chest have those grey parts, because it's from the Time Force technology. The blue highlights just kind of reminisce, maybe they upgrade it to what the Time Force Morpher now looks like, but I kind of went the blue because I think it contrasts really well with orange. As you can see, the chest piece and the headpiece do kind of resemble the Quantum Rangers, but I also kind of feel like the headpiece also also might resemble the Time Force Rangers, I did think of just doing a plain Time Force Ranger, but there's not much really you can do design-wise, and you know me, I like kind of doing the weird and wacky when it comes to Power Ranger designs. So here is our orange Quantum Ranger. He'd have the Time Force swords as a weapon. He wouldn't have the Quantum Morpher's abilities because it's no longer the Quantum Morpher. And everything now connects. We have the Time Force, you know, kind of starting up and kind of learning how to do time travel, and hence why the Quantum Morpher, the next one, gets left in the past. But we also have a connection to why Sky's dad has a Time Force suit. Maybe Sky's dad's first original journey as a Power Ranger was to actually find his father. Once he realized that was a no-go, then he started, you know, testing on humans, and obviously Sky gets abilities. Maybe something like that. Maybe Sky's dad had a hidden agenda of maybe using powers to stabilize yourself within the time stream. Who knows? Wyatt goes now throughout time and stops anomalies through time. Whenever someone messes with time so much that the Time Force Rangers can't deal with, because it's not a fixed point in time that's changing, it's actually more of a cosmic, magical sense, that's where Wyatt steps in. That's his job now. And Wyatt will defend the time stream as best he can. And, of course, we now have another Orange Ranger. I really enjoyed designing this one. I like the fact that I kind of played around with, you know, trying to connect it with the SPD Rangers. I thought it was really interesting. Do let me know, of course, what you guys think of my Orange Ranger here. I think I did a pretty decent job. You can also check out the other Orange Rangers I've created. I've made like a whole playlist for you guys to check out, where I've dived into every major series so far up to this point. Do let me know what you guys think of this Ranger. And of course, let me know if you like the idea that I've connected it to SPD in some way. Of course, all of this is hypothetical, you know, fan-fiction-y sort of ideas. Definitely check out the other videos on the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload from me, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Roar of passion, everybody. I love you all, and I'll see you then.